Hey, everybody. Let's see what time it is. Okay, I got to be at the dentist at 3:30. That one. So I'm in the parking lot, so I figured I got time to make a video. And I went by and got some coffee. Duncan Doughnuts. Yeah, buddy, I got two of them. Yeah. They good. They made fresh coffee for me, and then I opened it up because they didn't quite have enough sugar in it. So I had the coffee beans floating around. So they made me some fresher. So it was worth it after all that. But anyway, I met a guy, and he was talking about a lot of facts. He sounds believable, so I believe him. I probably won't remember it. So I kind of wanted to, I can't really talk about it too much because you know how YouTube is, but he was telling me a lot of history of Aiken and, you know, how part of it used to be, I don't know if it's true, so I probably don't need to say it. But anyway, how certain rise of power rose up in this area and even decided to secede from the Union and start the Civil War right here. Used to be Edgefield, and they split it up, made it Aiken. And that makes sense why in Edgefield they have the deeds for property all the way here in Aiken. So it makes sense why it's like that now. I always wondered when I was trying to figure out how old my property was, and a long time ago about putting it on a historical district and all that stuff. But anyway, this guy worked for like USC 18 years. But what's so cool, I mean, that was cool. You know, here we are getting coffee. He gets there, opens the door for me, and he's older than I am. So I don't know if he's retired. And then he got onto an employee who was parked with the lights on and a handicap. He said he didn't like that because his grandma or his mother was 90 years old and still active, but she's handicapped. And he thought, you know, that's just a pet peeve. But anyway, we got our coffee, and both lovers of coffee. You know, who can go wrong with Dunkin' Donuts? Dunkin' Donuts is great. Woo! But he said all this stuff about history, but another cool thing, a lot of it's cool, and I probably need to turn on my truck because I'm getting hot. It's February the 10th. Yeah, a little bit of AC. But you know, he was talking about all this stuff, and my son's autistic, and we was able to get into a program where they sent a U.S. student, and his name was Quintin Williams. And, you know, he's short, about 5'6", with long dreads. And my son at the time, Asperger's autism, but he was withdrawn in himself when he was little, and he did not realize the world was around him. He was in his own little world. He was like an invisible bubble that was very hard to break. He would do things, and then you'd interact with him, and he would fight for his life. You know, he just didn't realize you're in his zone, and he couldn't talk or anything, and it was very rough. But this young man, this gentleman today told me he's about 30, so time flies. But this young man, Quintin Williams, I guess make a shout out to Quintin Williams. He'd get my son's arms and roll him out rubber bands. And my son would pick up anything he could have and hit the man, and he'd jump on the trampoline with him. And he brought my son out of that bubble and made his eyes open up where he seen everything. And Quintin was really into theater and the shows. I never got to go see one. And, you know, they were even creative in the budget trying to create props. They didn't have the money for certain things, but they would even create some props for their shows. And I wish I could have seen them, but I've always had to work. So my wife stayed at home and raised the kids. And, you know, it's a sacrifice because, say, if you made $14 an hour, that's two people making $7. So if you make 16, 17, a little bit better, but not when you got two children and a wife, and you know, you're like making it, but you're not having all the other stuff, you know. just kind of doing the grind. But, you know, it turned out good. My son now, he works a weekend job, Walmart, pushing carts, and he's able to enjoy the land and all. And he's come out of his bubble and he's starting to think, and he can talk to people. He don't like it, and he still has issues where he has a hard time, but he's a lot better than he was. And I attribute a lot of that to Quintin because, you know, even your own child, when he takes something off a coffee table, throws it down, and you try to discipline him or show him right, take his hand and carry his hand away from it, you know, or whatever, and then he comes running at you and trying to fight you like a grown man, and he only weighs 20-something pounds, and he's not even 3 foot tall, and you're like, something ain't right with this kid. But he's too young to diagnose, so yeah, it took a while. And Quintin, thank you, Quintin. Thank you for helping me get my son out of that difficult time where he could grow. And he volunteers, this gentleman I was talking to volunteers at the museum, and he's going to play a character, you know, and they couldn't do it last year with COVID. Not trying to talk about that word. This ain't medical advice. You got to put that in there if you say anything medical, so you won't get took down. But he's going to play like a ghost and a historical figure, which is cool. And he volunteers there, and, you know, very smart man, very literate how he pronounces words and everything, and very informative. And he could be like a professor, you know. He just has all that knowledge just poured out of him. You know, I don't know what he's doing, but, you know, hopefully he enjoys what he's doing. But yeah, it was cool getting coffee, meeting people while you're getting coffee, and then it's a small world, you know. I heard Quintin Williams is Atlanta, so somebody that knows him and talked to him since I've seen him, and I said, well, if you see him, you know, tell him thank you. And I posted this on YouTube, so hopefully you probably won't see it, but if he does, you know, I want to just say thank you, Quintin Williams. And it's just so cool, you know, that he signed up for that program to, you know, they got paid for it a little bit, but not much. College student, you know, and got experience doing it, and he's in the theater, and he's enjoying his dream. Most people don't get to enjoy the dream. Most people, you know, they do the grind, or they work till they can't work no more, or work a job that'll let them work, try to go to a job and take vacation, you work for insurance, and then they force you out, or you retire, and then you just do that, you know, or other people do what they do. But yeah, that is so cool. I got my chip. I got to go in here. My daughter told me she had a chip today, and my son calls that when they were little. But I didn't know. I don't know why we didn't take her to the dentist, but she needs to probably go to the dentist for that. So I'm going in here, and they're going to tell me what they're going to do. Got my little bag. I brush my teeth so they don't have to smell my coffee. But yeah, it's a small world, man. Tell me all kind of stuff about, you know, Aiken, and I think he was named after. There's two Roosevelt presidents, so I think it's Franklin Roosevelt that was in the New Deal, and Teddy Roosevelt was in the 1901 to 1908. I was looking that up yesterday. I don't know if I remember it. I just can't recall stuff like that, so I had to write it down. And once I write it down, sometimes pen to memory is faster than word to memory. You know, I guess that's the mechanical aspect of my brain. I do something, it goes muscle memory, and action memory goes better than just telling me about things. It just goes over my head or through my ears. So yeah, oh man, it's just so awesome. But maybe we can go to that spooky thing. He said I think it stays open to 8 or 9 o'clock. So, you know, if I get off at 5 or 4, I'd still be able to do it, but it'd be pushing it. But to see the little museum, and I took my kids when they were little, and they had, I forgot what it was. They had a flea circus. That was really entertaining, you know. And the guy was acting like these things were doing things, but there wasn't no fleas. But he had these miniature things, and he said what they were doing, so you can imagine there were fleas. And then he had like a little firecracker with a cannon, and supposedly it popped the flea out, and he went and picked it off somebody in the audience. So it's kind of cool. I like, that was the best part of whatever we went to see. And you know, they talked about the old caravans come around and they sold this medicine, but really it was like moonshine or some kind of ale, because people didn't sleep. So the best thing for people was to get some sleep. So once they gave them this, you know, the alcohol made them sleep, they felt better. So he said, yeah, miracle cure, cures everything. So sleep is very important. They knew it. The peddlers peddling that stuff, and they had kind of the trickery and the switches of hand where make people believe by just using kind of little cheap tricks that they hadn't seen before, and people said, oh, this guy must know what he's talking about. So, you know, people do that now. It never changes. Everything can be related to somebody using a trick to make you think they know what they're talking about, and oh, this person made this much money a month, or, you know, this country is invading this one for some reason, or, you know, the gas prices should be this, but we're not going to make any oil, and, you know, all these little tricks. They can be big tricks or little tricks. So you got to watch out for the tricks. But, you know, don't spend no money. Save your money, because you never know how bad it's going to get. But anyway, just remembering that guy, man, Quintin Williams. You know, they had a couple other ones. They were all right, but wasn't good as Quintin. So, I got to get ready to go in here. I'm going to drink some coffee, relax a minute. Go ahead and upload this video. And thank y'all for following me and liking and, you know, do the grind.